Hi guys, welcome back to Yaya's Craft House. So I've wanted to build a miniature barn for over a year, and today's the day. I started with a full sheet of foam board. I measured over 20 inches and cut, and then I decided to keep the full length of the board, which was 30 inches. I cut out 2 of these, and then I cut out the sides. So 2 sides for each back, and they were 10 inches wide. I glued them all together. I had this vision of the barn that you could open up and, shoot little scenes with, but then it would close up and look like a barn from the front. So that's why I'm doing the 2 sides. So the 2 pieces, I'm going to take a piece of scrapbook paper and hot glue the sides together with the paper. That way when I close the barn, the 2 back side walls are not glued together and they can move freely to open and close. Next, I measured and cut out the floors. I guess a brown scrapbook paper would have worked, but I ended up using this rock paper. It's going to be covered in hay anyway. I'm going to take this wood grain scrapbook paper and cover all of the walls. I put this doll in there just so you could see the scale of the barn. I decided to do 2 stalls on one side, and I built a divider and covered it in this wood grain contact paper. And then I cut out 2 gates for the stalls and covered them in the paper. I then took some strips of foam board and covered them in the same contact paper and glued them all around the edges, and then in kind of like a cross pattern on the front of the gates. Here's the finished gates. I think they turned out pretty cute. Now I'm going to take some of the contact paper and I put it on top of scrapbook paper and made some little hinges for the gates, and I'm going to hot glue those to the back of the gates and then to the little divider wall. Next came the fun job of covering the front of the barn. I took some strips of paperboard. I took some boxes from my work and cut them into strips and glued them on, covering the whole front. I did go back later and cover the left side of the barn. Maybe one day I'll do the other side, but I wanted to be able to put the chicken coop up against the barn. Now that the front of the barn is covered, I took some of this red paint and mixed in a little black paint and painted the front. I then took some black paint and went over lightly, just adding some depth and kind of aging it a bit. To finish off the front, I took some strips of foam board and kind of glued them on to make a door. I really wanted to make the X on the front too, and I will definitely go back and do that, but I was having trouble getting the angles right and I just gave up on it. I cut a piece of foam board for the loft, and I also cut some strips of foam board to glue under that just to support it a little, and I covered them in the same wood grain scrapbook paper. I was running very low on this paper, and so I had to kind of patch it all together, and I had to cover the top and the bottom because they're both going to show. I glued all of that in, and then I used 2 more strips of foam board and measured them out for a ladder, and then I just cut smaller pieces to go in the middle, and then I covered them all in the contact paper. I took a little rope and I just kind of spooled it around and glued it together. I also took a paper clip and unfolded it and cut out some little hooks and glued 3 of them onto a popsicle stick and hung it on the wall. I bought these little garden tools at Hobby Lobby. They are a little bit small for the dolls, but I think they look cute in the background. I took some of the loose hay and sprinkled it around. I put down some grass scrapbook paper out in front of the barn and covered it with the hay. I bought these little lambs at the Dollar Tree probably a year ago. These miniature straw bales came from Hobby Lobby. I already had a few, but I bought some more. I wanted some in the loft and some down here. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up below and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you back here soon.